Jonathan,
Yes, sir.
how are you? So it looks like the lowest they can go on that home, because they already did go through a pretty massive price reduction on it, is 186 and giving us $5,000 in closing costs, which is pretty much going to cover all of your closing costs with them. It's going to get you everything paid for, so you guys don't really have to come out of pocket much at all. I mean, maybe a very small amount just for your earnest money. It's a pretty darn good deal considering other homes that have sold. I haven't seen a home sell in Stillwater Ranch for under $300,000 in a while. They just go for a lot more than that on this side of town, and so as far as like a deal, I think it's a great deal. The fact that you're also getting the $5,000 in closing, and then your title policy paid, your loan origination paid, survey, you're gonna get a warranty with that. You're getting a lot of little bonuses in there too. I think it's a great deal, and I think that'd be perfect for you guys. It'd get you right into that area that you want to be at, and the payment would be pretty darn good too. So you guys end up saying, yeah, I like it, we want it. Vincent can write up the contract, and then I'm going to want to get in touch with your landlord and talk about getting you guys out a little bit early, but still put some protection in place, so if you need the time, you can still have it as well. Save you guys a little bit of money on that side. So but you get most of that credited back to you at closing, so you'll probably come out of pocket at the most a couple $1,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Let me call Dad and see if he likes the number. So it'd be pretty much 186 minus 5,000 for
Closing costs. Correct. Wanted to pay your own closing costs and get a little bit lower payment. You could get it down to right around 181, and pay your own closing costs. So you'd be coming out of pocket closer to $5,000-6,000 in your closing costs, and that way you guys have a little bit lower monthly payment. Definitely do that. Usually, what I see is you coming in, 'cause it's a new house. You're gonna have to get furniture. You're gonna have to get new stuff for the home. It's better to keep as much of your money on hand. That way, you have money to fill the home in when you get it, because it's a good sized house. So.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, let me give Des a call, and then I'll call you right back to make sure she is okay with the price.
Okay, my friend. Let me know.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Bishop Group Coaching Library. I just got off the phone with young couple, really great kid. I actually did a lot of business with his dad, and he called me about a week ago, said, hey, my son's trying to get a house, he's renting right now, and I want you to help him out. So I said, of course, love to, it'd be my honor. I called his son up, and they have been renting for about 3 years now, and they just signed a lease extension on their lease, and they're going to be in their apartment for like another year. And so they proceeded to tell me, look, thank you for calling, and our dad asked you to reach out, we're definitely going to buy a house, but we got to be here for another year. And I said, hold on a minute, no you do not. One of the areas that you need to specialize in if you're a realtor, and one of the areas that I train my people and specialize in myself, is getting people out of a situation where they're throwing money away in a rental and putting them into a situation where they're putting money into their own investment and building equity in a home. Okay? We're experts at negotiating with landlords. Okay? You need to become an expert with negotiating with a landlord. I'll never forget, and we'll get back to the story about the couple I'm working with now, but about 3 years ago, I had a good friend of mine call me, and he wanted to buy a home. He's looking at it in like the $250,000-300,000 range, but his wife was a very worrisome individual, and what happened is they had gotten to the end of their lease, and they were going to go month to month. Well, that freaked his wife out. She didn't want to pay the extra money. She was worried that they'd kick her out of the home, or kick her out of the rental, which, so she was dealing with all this uncertainty. And so I called him back one day and I said, hey buddy, we're going to go look at some houses. And he said, man, my wife, she got freaked out. Our lease was expiring, and so she renewed us for another year. So I guess catch up with us a little bit later on next year. And I said, no. Absolutely not. I'm not going to allow you guys to throw away money for the next 12 months of your life. How much you paying in rent? Oh gosh, our rent's around $1,600 a month. I did the math in my head. I said, you guys are going to pay $18,000, $19,000 over the next 12 months and put that in somebody else's pocket? I'm not going to let you guys do that. Absolutely not. What's the number to your landlord? So what do you mean? I see. So I'm going to call your landlord up, and I'm going to get you guys out of that lease, and I'm going to get you into a home, and you guys are going to spend the next 12 months putting that money back into your own family with an investment that's going to go up in value, not down in value, or money that's going to go into someone else's pocket rather than yours. You're going to get into a house. And so I proceeded to call the landlord up. It was a apartment complex, a nice one, and because they have lived there a year prior to, they had the option to get out of that lease for simply 1.5 months rent payment. Okay, so they had to pay, in addition to the last month rent, an additional 1.5 months, and they got out of that lease completely. And so I went ahead, I found them a beautiful new construction home. There was, I think they ended up buying something at $290,000. There was some additional funds that we negotiated for. I made that a part of the deal. Negotiated that with the builder, so we had funds to actually pay that extra 1.5 months rent. Came out to around a little bit over $2,000, I think $2,400. So we worked that into the deal, and so the builder not only got them into a new home, paid for all their closing costs, beautiful house that's going to go up in value in a wonderful neighborhood, good schools, great amenities, etc. That builder actually paid that fee to the apartment complex, and they got out of their lease and into this beautiful home. I just caught up with him a couple months ago, and you could not see a happier individual. I mean, they are just elated that they had this wonderful experience of thinking that they were going to have to live in that apartment complex for another year just because their lease had expired, to where now they're able to have their own beautiful home with a big backyard, kids, dogs, and this sucker has already gone up in value. They bought it at $290,000. It's probably worth $310,000, and it's only been a year, and that's money that they are able to accumulate for themselves. If you are renting, you need to stop renting. If you know somebody that's renting, you need to tell them to stop renting. It's throwing your money away. It's making somebody else wealthy. And I learned this from a very young age. My mother would always tell me, don't rent. Do not rent, own. Buy cash if you can, but find a way to purchase and own rather than rent, because when you rent, you're making somebody else rich. And so my mother came over as a immigrant from Peru with nothing, and she worked hard as a nurse. She got her nursing degree, and she bought real estate. Today, my mother does very well, and it's all because she had the courage to buy rather than rent. And there's a lot of people out there, there's a lot of uncertainty. They say, oh, well, I don't want to sign up for another a 30-year note. I'm not going to be alive for 30. I mean, how do I know I'm going to be alive for 30 years? I don't know if I'm going to have a job for 30 years. I don't want to be wrapped into that thing. Well, here's the thing about it, ladies and gentlemen. You have to live somewhere. You're going to pay for a roof over your head pretty much every year of your life that you're living, okay? So you might as well make that investment into yourself. You might as well buy something that is going, you gotta pay to live somewhere, so you might as well have that money going into something that you're going to own, okay? It's just a very simple concept. The majority of Americans keep most of their wealth in their home. It's one of the greatest vehicles to acquire and develop wealth in the United States of America. Real estate in itself is responsible for more self-made millionaires and more millionaires than any other vehicle, any other financial vehicle ever. Real estate over the long term always goes up in value. There are short-term corrections in the market where your real estate may go down in value for a little while, but it always comes back up. Look at the history of time. Real estate has always improved. And why? Because there's more people being born, there's more, the population is increasing, not decreasing, and the need for housing also increases as well. Okay, now there are times where, hey, they're building too many houses, we got too much going out there, and that's when the market needs to correct. However, it will always come back up because we're always going to have more people coming in, and there's always going to be a need to live somewhere. That's the one thing that people need. It's the first step to the American dream, is finding your home that you're going to live in. So my recommendation to any real estate agent that's getting started and you're dealing with a bunch of renters, you got people that want to rent, ask them one question. Why? Why are you guys renting? You know, you're going to get a lot of answers there. Some of them may say, well, we may be moving, some of them say, well, we don't have any credit, or some of them may say, well, we don't want to get wrapped up in a 30-year note. There is a very good argument to all of those objections, and it's very simple. If you're have bad credit, well, you know what? It's okay to be in a rental for a little while, but let's build your credit. Let's figure out what the problem is. Let's figure out how to improve it, okay? It's very simple to do. Most people just don't have established credit, so they need to go things like get a secured credit card from Capital One and pay it off, charge it up, and pay it off, charge it up, and pay it off. Within a few months, a person can go from a low 500 credit score to a medium 6, which will get you pretty much any loan that you want to get. People that don't want to get wrapped up into a 30-year note, where there's the same argument is you got to pay to live somewhere. And, if you're paying to live somewhere, that money may as well be going to yourself. People that are concerned about moving in a couple of years, well, we may be moving from the area. Well, that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in yourself. You should still get a home, buy that home, and you can always rent it out if you have to move and turn that home into an income-producing asset. So even while you're moving all over the country, you have a piece of real estate that is putting money in your pocket every week, and you're still building equity, developing more savings, and so it's a smart decision to buy no matter where you're at in life, okay? But you gotta believe it. You really gotta believe it. I believe it so much because I've seen my own mother go from basically rags to riches in real estate. I have my own story of when I bought my first home for $100,000. It increased in value all the way up to $180K, and now I'm renting it out and cash flowing every month. Once I've seen that happen, once I've experienced that, when I sit down with the person that talks about renting, it makes no sense. And also, getting back to our original story, this young man that recently renewed his lease, I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to take care of that for you. Let's go out and look at some houses. So we just recently looked at a Perry home. We're about to go under contract on it. It's a $289,000 Perry home. His payment's actually going to be less than what he's paying on the rental. And he is going to get into this home. I'm going to negotiate with his landlord and have the builder pay to get his lease terminated early. He's going to move into this beautiful home where he can start his family. He's going to be happy. His kids are going to be happy. His life is going to be so much better. And he's going to be starting putting away money for him and his future. That's how you make an impact in people's lives. Don't let anybody rent. It's a big mistake. You got to live somewhere. I get it. If you have to rent because your credit's bad, or if you have to rent because one reason or another, it's not the end of the world. But have a path to where you're picking up some real estate. Have a plan to where you're going to develop some income and some savings through real estate. And the best way is with the home that you're living in. And so we're here to help. I hope that helps, and I hope you guys have success out there when dealing with clients and buyers and sellers. Have a great day. Bye.